channel. Today I want to talk about making a personal curriculum for fall 2025, and for mine personally it's focused on my language learning goals. But first I need to take this off because it's so hot in here. Oh, it's fall but it feels like summer. Oh, and if you know where my shirt's from, we should be friends. So you may have seen this trend floating around TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, but basically people are taking subjects that they've always wanted to learn or things they want to know more about, and they're turning it into a study plan with a syllabus or readings or things like that, and basically making a structure for themselves to learn new things. Some people schedule it based on the days of the week, but I work on call, so my weekly schedule is always all over the place. It can change from day to day. So I think what's gonna work best for me is just having a weekly goal of things that I wanna make sure I get done and trying to fit that into a schedule. So basically I built this all into Notion, and I'll take you onto my computer behind us and we will kind of check out how I structured it, and maybe it will kind of inspire you, especially if you are learning a language. That you can really just like narrow down your focus and maybe get some ideas of how you might want to set up a Notion page to track your own stuff. So yeah, let's get on the computer and take a look. Alright, so here we are on my Notion. I gave it a super like fall autumnal vibe going on, that can change in December once it's winter, but for this fall semester, I guess you'd call it, I have 5 different classes and then a few other things on this page, which I'll show you in a minute. The first thing though is these courses, which are kind of like the classes that I'm taking, if you want to think of it that way. So I tried to incorporate the 4 different skills of language: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And then I also threw in a grammar class because I feel like I could use practice on that. So basically each of these classes is one of those skills, and then underneath I have it linked so that I have the resource that I want to use for each class. And basically my goal is to do 1 active practice of these skills per week. I do a lot of immersion anyway, a lot of listening and things like that, and I won't be stopping those things, but I want to make sure I'm doing active practice, especially of like reading and writing. Those are things I need to do more actively through the week, so I feel like having at least 1 session a week that's planned like this will really help me to practice those skills and keep my language skills really balanced, so that I'm not only just listening and improving my comprehension. For my grammar class, I'm going to be working through that textbook you can see right there, Easy French Step by Step, and doing some grammar drills. For reading, I have a couple of different places I can find articles, or I can also just search up an article and do it that way. I put a couple of my favorite podcasts and listening comprehension activities for that class. For French conversation, I'm planning on doing 2 italki lessons per week. And then I also have a list of prompts for writing composition, so if I don't have something specific that I want to write about, I can write on a prompt. So those are basically my active study methods, and then I have the calendar down here that will help me plan things out. And what I love about Notion's calendars is when you plan something in it, so I can choose the course that this is for. Let's say it's my reading, and it's going to be an activity. We'll say article. Usually I put the title of the article. So right now it's on Tuesday, but let's say I planned it for Tuesday, but like I said, my schedule is always changing, so maybe I actually need to do it on Thursday. I can just click and drag it. I can put it anywhere that it needs to go. So that's a really great part about planning on here. And basically what I'm going to do is put down my weekly plan, either on the fly or in advance and maybe change later, and that will give me an idea of what I'm doing during the week. And then I have my checklist down here, so I have each of the areas that I'm trying to improve on, and each of these checkboxes is a day of the week. So basically when I complete my weekly lesson, I will check it off on the day that I did it, and the progress bar fills up. So basically we want to check in each category for each week. When all of these are filled up, then I know I've done all my practice for the week, and then at the end of the week I can just press this and it resets everything. Up here, I've already started it for this week, but these are actually my homework, so it's like my daily tasks that I want to be doing. So I try to speak in French for at least 1 minute every day. I try to do my Anki decks for 5 minutes a day. I want to do grammar drills for 5 minutes a day on a website that I really like called, I think it's a Spanish name. It's actually right here. It's called Conjuguemos, I think. I'm probably butchering that, but I really like that website to practice grammar. And then on my commute, I listen to podcasts usually, so I can do at least 20 minutes really easily. I have like an hour commute. And then my last daily goal is to journal daily. I can write about my day, or I can find a really simple prompt, and I kept this super simple. As long as I write like 1 or 2 sentences, I'm good with that. It's mostly just staying consistent. And then the last thing on this page is just my little Pomodoro clock, and it has a really cute fall theme, which I love. So that is pretty much my plan right now and how I laid out everything on Notion. As you can see, I'm just focusing on one subject right now, but I'm thinking that this system will be really good once I want to focus more on Greek as well as French. Right now, French is my main focus, but in the future, you can totally add like different classes or courses or whatever you want to call them and have multiple focuses. I really just stuck to the language goals that I have right now, but it's so adaptable, and I think that's a really good thing. I try to keep my goals really simple and attainable, and mostly my goal right now is just to stay consistent and try to follow through with this. I work with kids, so it's tiring. I have goals in the gym as well that I'm trying to work towards, so I'm gonna try to really approach this like not beating myself up, not making it super strict like when I was in university and stressed out. I don't want this to be stressful. I just think it could be a good way to track things, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and I will go back to maybe how I was doing it before, just having like a study log. Just the one problem that I was finding with that is that I was kind of falling back onto things that were easy to do, like listening to a podcast or watching TV shows, which is also really good progress and not knocking it at all. I know my listening comprehension has really improved from doing so. I just feel like I'm not making as much time to do like writing prompts or to find articles to read. So I feel like having a bit of structure like this, where it's not set on a day or set on a time, but there's that plan in place where it's like, okay, try to find a time for that this week. I think that will kind of help me have more active practice in my week, like I said, and that way all my skills are kind of going up proportional to each other, instead of my listening just being like this and then I try to speak and it's like down here. So yeah, pretty much my next goal is to find some italki tutors, and that's kind of where I'm at. And that is my fall curriculum. If you are making a curriculum, if you have one, if you're tracking it on Notion or something else, I would love if you would leave me a comment and tell me about what you're learning about and how you're planning on structuring it, what resources you're using. Yeah, I think that'd be really fun to know. Wishing you the best in your studies. Have an awesome day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.